Short position, we'll put this here, put that high. So we see 8 pips. 8 pips, but if we target, let's see, and so go try a sell. We'll do 10 pips or 20 pips, risking 0.5%. And we'll see if we can get in on this entry here. Again, I'm just going to bring this in a bit. To 1 to 1.5. Now that should have ended because it's went through there. Something must be playing up with the trade view here. That hasn't activated the trade. Now it has. I don't know whether it's the spreads or so again, there's the imbalance. Okay, the imbalance has been met. It went right through that imbalance. And if you were trading this on a live account, you could have that as a take partial area, depending on if it continued back down. Get rid of that one. Oh, get rid of that. It's that we want rid of. Pause the video. I'll be back in a sec. We'll just see what happens with price. I don't want to keep the video going for too long, to be fair. So now on this trade, we were in a little bit of profit. Here we are. We're now going into a little bit of profit. We're just after the actual 9 o'clock London Open, so to speak. You could possibly take a partial on this area here. Again, I'm going to try and sort of move that down to that London low bit there. I'm going to move this further down to here. Like I said, method in the madness. You got to feel forward, okay, to sort of get your trading plan and everything else into place. So we could have a first take partial there. You could have, let's see, this area. You could have move your stop loss to just above break even. And possibly on here, you could have another take partial, you know. So I'm going to let the trade run again. We might come out and get stopped out, to be fair. The pause video will be back in a short while. Again, guys, stopped out. Not letting it dishearten me. Yeah, I'm just going to see what happens when we go a little bit further into our kill zone time. So just bear with me. Right, guys, so I'm trying to learn from mistakes or feeling forward sort of thing. So we've got the London zone here, okay? Again, it's going to be coming out of the London zone soon, I would have thought. Excuse me. So what's happened is, going on the preference of, this was the midnight, okay? We take this back to New York. That's midnight in New York, okay? We came into the London session. From the London session, I've got the low from the midnight reset. Had the high before we went into the London Open. So that was there. We came up, okay? Tried to get in a few entries. They were the wrong entries. Thus, so far, we've created a double top on here. Now, when we created the double top, we've come down and we've pushed through this area here, okay? We broke through that. So we had a liquidity grab, a displacement. We've had a couple of fair value gaps, okay? So as we broke through it, I went and done an entry. It was a little earlier entry. I based it on this area, this fair value gap, okay? Because we broke through here. As you can see, we've come back up. And as we come through that fair value gap, I went for the lowest hanging fruit, but in fact, price actually came back and it wanted to go for this fair value gap. So at the moment, what's happening is, get this up on here, price is actually coming to mitigate, excuse me, into this area now. So we're going to see if we'll get a reaction to come down again. If you were going to take partials, that will be your first area there. On a take partial, as we come down, I would possibly move the stop loss to just above this swing area. So I'm going to see how price reacts to this now, see if I can actually get something correct for today. But again, it's not about being spot on first time round. Whenever you're trying anything new, you don't want to be spot on first time round because you think you've just got it correct. You need to be able to fall flat on your face, you know, so then you can understand what's happened. You reanalyze where price has been, excuse me, tired, and then you can move forward, you know. So we'll see what happens with this. And again, I'll try this again on the New York Open, see what kind of success I'll have with it there. Once again, I'm just journaling and I'm like vlogging what I've been doing so I can look back on what I've done. Again, in all honesty, when I look back on this, I've had a few interruptions, a few distractions when I've been off camera. I've had people reaching out to me and needing help with some stuff, and also I've had someone at the door. So when we're looking at lower time frame stuff, they're all precious seconds or minutes you can lose, you know. But at the moment, we're at this level of imbalance, I should say a fair value gap, and it's testing that area. So I will pause the video and I'll be back a bit later. All right, guys, so what I've done is I've closed the partial. And if you want to know how to close a partial, okay, this was on around about 50 odd thousand, okay. So what I did was I went to buy, because you're going to do the opposite. So this was 50 odd thousand. I went and closed 25, so I closed half of the area off. So I'm buying back a position. So I went to 25,000 and then I hit buy. And if you go back on the video, you'll see that this is actually just under half. So I've bought some of the position back. I'm going to move my stop loss to just over break even. We started at about 10K this morning on a paper trade, I do believe. So I did take a few losses, okay? I did take a few losses today, as you've seen. But now I'm around about 20 quid in drawdown overall for the trading today. So if this comes back and stops me out, I'm getting an extra 3 quid. So I'll be about £17 down for the day on the trading. Not particularly fussed about that. Again, it's paper trading, it's demo, but it's also teaching me today a lesson in managing risk. Okay, so I'm going to close the video out there for today. And again, this today for me, it's been a good lesson because one, when we look at the overview of what's been going on, yes, I've entered 2 or 3 trades. Yes, I've lost, but I've been using my knowledge with risk management and the trading. So this concept really is new to me. I know I've got quite a bit of knowledge for like sort of smart money concept, but I've never used the ICT concept, and it's something that I want to do moving forward. So again, sticking with the methods of what I've been doing with this, where we're going to go to the New York time, have the midnight line put on there, have the low and then the high going into the London kill zone there to stop me out. So going from the low to the high, and then we'll wait for that trading plan on the top. You see the liquidity grab, a displacement, a fair value gap, a break high low. You set your limit order, you put your stop loss just after the fair value gap. Your TP level is further down. And yes, I've gone for further levels on this, but again, I want to sort of feel forward so I can see what works and what doesn't work for me. And again, referencing on where we started with 10K this morning, taking a few losses today, it hasn't disheartened me because I'm sort of learning with this, and I like to learn. I like to feel, and I know it sounds sadistic, but I like to feel because the only way you progress is when you do actually lose. Now, like I say, I'll keep this trade. Obviously it's closed out. I'm going to keep this going. Possibly I've moved my stop loss to just below the break even too early. I said I was going to do it when we hit here. Okay, we come back down to the high just before that London Open session there. It's coming, it's respected that. So again, this is showing you levels of like authority sort of thing, because what you've got is before we come into the London kill zone, we had a high. And as we come into this and we look further into it, you can see it's broke respect. It's come up, created new highs, double topped. We come down, and as we come down to sort of get that displacement and the fair value gap, we broke the structure low. I was targeting this imbalance. Unfortunately, it came up higher. It came into this area. Structure is still holding based upon that trading plan, and it's come back down. And look at this, it's respecting, broke, and it's just bouncing along the previous high before the London kill zone. And at the moment, that's where we're stagnant, that we're stuck there. So from there, in hindsight, what I should have been looking, I should have kept the trade going and then waited for a break of structure here before moving the parameters. But again, we learn from and progress from feeling forward, you know. So going into a short break now, we'll wait for the sort of New York Open, and we'll try this again during the New York Open and see if, because this was the midnight, okay, of New York, and this was the London low, I do believe New York, we may see price come down and mitigate into this area. It's going to be interesting to see. I'll keep you all updated later, guys. And that's the end of this video for today, the 13th of January 2023, and again Friday the 13th. What would you know? Right, so I'll see you on the New York session, guys.